So one of the things that we know about human beings is that we're very, very social creatures, that the way our brain is organized, the way the rest of our body is organized, is to help us connect with others in our family and in our community, in our clan. And the biology of this is so powerful that in the presence of people that we feel safe with, in the presence of people that we feel familiar with, our stress response systems quiet down. And the reward systems in our brain that are making us feel pleasure actually get activated. So the glue of human connection is something that is both regulating and rewarding. And in the natural world, basically, hundreds of thousands of years ago, human beings lived in much smaller groups. And the relational community was much denser. There was much more touch, much more interaction. We lived in these groups of multi-family, multi-generational clans where there was a tremendous amount of relational glue. And as we have become more modern, we've been able to have larger groups of people live together. And the consequence of that is that we're have more people in the same space, but they're less connected to each other. They don't know each other as well. The positive thing about this incredibly powerful pull to be connected is that even when there aren't that many people during the day that you can connect with, if you do have a positive relational interaction with somebody that's relatively brief, that can be very, very sustaining. And I think this is really important for educators to appreciate that, you've got 25, 30 kids in each class, and you may have 4 or 5 classes over the course of a day. And the opportunity for you to have sort of a quality interaction with every single kid, just the idea of that can be daunting and make you feel exhausted. But I want educators to appreciate and remember that you don't need to provide this for everybody every day. But if you do have an interaction, an opportunity to be with a child, be present with that child, that in that moment, if you can be really present, if you can sort of let go of all the other things that are rolling around in your head and just be in that moment, that is powerful. It's those moments that are physiologically powerful. One of the most important elements is appreciating that everybody, as they grow up, creates this internal catalog of attributes related to their development. So the attributes related to people are going to come from the way the people that raised them interacted with them. So if you grow up in an environment where you have a grandma and an auntie and a mom and a dad, and everybody's attentive to you, and you're a little baby and they think you're awesome, and then you become a toddler and they love you and they give you lots of these opportunities to develop, and they're smiling and they're affectionate, your brain gets filled with this big catalog of experience with relationships that are positive. And so in your brain, you catalog human interactions as if these are positive things, like people are good things. And so because the brain is a prediction machine, and what I mean by that is that your brain, as you go through the day, is always anticipating what it thinks is going to be coming next. And so when your expectations are met, your brain goes, see, I'm smart. See, my worldview is right. See. And most of us are lucky enough to have predictability throughout the day where we go, oh yeah, see, teachers are kind. See, my friends like me. See, I can pass a math test. And your brain goes, you're right. And that feels good. And when the world is as your brain tells you it is, you kind of coast. It's like, this is awesome. But when you run into something where, ooh, that didn't happen. I predicted that the teacher would be nice and the teacher yelled at me. Or I predicted that my friends would be nice to me and they weren't nice to me. And when that doesn't happen, it makes you feel unbalanced. So the key point is that everybody has a somewhat unique catalog of early relational experiences that creates their worldview. And then that worldview is used for your little prediction machine about what should happen when you go to school, when I meet a new person. Here's a new person at the grocery store, they smile at me. Oh, people are good, right? I expected that. See, I predicted that. But if you grow up in an environment where you have an exhausted, overwhelmed parent, and you're growing up away from your extended family, and you don't know anybody in the community, and you have this very small catalog of positive relational interactions, and then you have a lot of other relational experiences that are either neutral or negative. People aren't very kind to you. People are not seeing you the same way that your loving mother might see you. And so in your brain, rather than having this catalog of, oh, people are good, you have this catalog of people are kind of unpredictable. Some people are good, some people are not so good. And then you go out into the world, your brain, remember, your prediction machine, is saying, I don't know what to make of people. People are not necessarily trustworthy. People are not there for me. People are not smiling at me. So when the teacher comes up and smiles at you and says, welcome to the class, your little brain goes, I wouldn't have predicted that. I don't know if I believe that. And so the teacher, with all of the kids, is saying, welcome to the class. I'm so happy to have you. And the little kids who have an internal model, an internal set of experiences that say, hey, people are good, that child goes, great, I feel seen, I feel loved, I get rewarded, I feel regulated, because that's the way the world works. The kid who has the different internal working model goes, I don't know. So there are times when I'll give a lecture and there'll be a bunch of people out in the audience and I'll be talking, and my brain, you can't help it, your brain is always scanning the social environment, right? So I'll see somebody out there that's smiling, going, oh yeah, that Dr. Perry, he's so smart. And I'll keep looking at them and go, yeah, I am so smart. And then I'll look over there and there'll be somebody who's frowning. I'm like, oh, what's with them? And oh, they don't believe me? And what I do is I keep looking back at the person that reinforces what I'm saying. The person that falls asleep, I don't look at. That's just the nature of the way your brain works. And so this happens with educators. The children who reciprocate and make the teacher feel good and special, they get more attention. And the kids that are neutral or disconnected, it becomes harder and harder for the teacher to be enthusiastic and engaged with that child. Now, the good news about that is that in a relatively brief but fully present moment, you can make a child feel seen and feel safe and feel rewarded. You don't have to be doing continuous relational engagement all the time with every single kid. That's impossible. But if in a day you can have a few of these little moments, they can be really life transforming. One of the aspects of this relational neurobiology that we have is that we're continually scanning the relational environment to look at signals that we're okay, that the people we're with are giving us signals that we belong, that they agree with us, or that they disagree with us, or that we don't belong. So your brain is continually monitoring this relational environment. And part of that is appreciating that there are certain things that you as an educator can do that will make somebody feel safer and connected, and there are things that you can do that will make somebody feel more threatened. So one of the most important is what we call proximity. That I think everybody's had the experience of running into somebody who's you're talking with and they actually get too close. Everybody laughs about it, but it's true. Some people have a really weird sense of personal space. So they get right in your face and it's uncomfortable. And part of that's related to this neurobiology of connectedness. That when somebody moves out of social space into personal space, they're basically close enough to hurt you. They're literally physically close enough to reach out and hurt you. The key is, if you as an educator appreciate somebody's personal space, appreciate that that's a thing, first of all, and that you don't go into somebody's personal space without permission, you're going to have much more success at making them feel safe and connected than if you violate their personal space without permission. Now, a lot of educators, they know how to do this. They stand up in front of a class and they give a presentation, and when you're doing that, you are in what we call the social space. But if you go over and somebody is working on a problem, and you come swoop down into their space and they haven't sort of asked you to help them, you're going to frequently have kids that will react like they'll push back. And even the kids that don't physically push back are going to shut down because they feel threatened. And so a lot of times a teacher will find that they go in and they swoop in and they think they're explaining this to a child, but actually the child's not processing this accurately because that activated their stress response, that you got into their personal space without their permission. But if you stand back and you say, "Do you want me to help you with that?" and they say yes, they're inviting you into their personal space, and then you can get down and get on the paper with them and do the work. I know that sounds like a really simple, small thing, but it's huge. Many of the kids that you'll have in your classroom are going to be coming from backgrounds where there's been threat and chaos and maybe even overt abuse. And so their stress response systems are going to be overactive and overly reactive. And so the kind of swooping into their personal space that a neurotypically regulated kid can tolerate might be so much that it would make that child blow up or completely shut down and not even talk to you. And so again, being aware of this relational space is something that's a really important thing in education. Another big part of that is recognizing that when you are interacting with somebody, when you are sitting face to face with somebody, that's a much more intimate interaction than if you're sitting the same distance, but you're parallel. So if you want to communicate and connect with kids that you've been having trouble with, one of the best things to do is be side by side with them as opposed to face with them. And again, as we've talked about before, if you can do things that are regulating while you're side by side, right? So like if you say to someone, come on up and let's erase the chalkboard together. If you're doing some motor activity, let's clean the windows together. Let's walk down the hallway together. If you do some kind of pattern, repetitive, rhythmic activity in parallel, that's when you're going to find the child's going to talk a lot more. They're going to feel safer. They're going to feel connected. And if you've been quiet and respectful, they're going to talk. And this happens when we take them on a ride, when we drive children around. This happens when we walk with them. This happens when we play cards with them. This happens when we go shoot baskets with them. These are the kinds of relational interactions that create an environment where the child feels safer. So again, once you learn a little bit about what we call the power of proximity, learn a little bit about what we call proxemics, which is sort of understanding space, and you develop a few techniques around that, you can be much more effective at creating a sense of safety for a lot of these kids that have a sensitized stress response.